For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
It's Back Pay Thursday. Welcome to another edition of the world's most monitored talk show, and that is NewsSpin on Power 97.9 FM. The broadcast is also on the NewsSpin Facebook page as well as the NewsSpin YouTube channel. You'll be part of the conversation a little bit later at 452-2979. That's 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026, and Amanda will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. We have a lot to share with you between now and when the broadcast concludes. So today, public sector workers on the island have gotten what is due to them. And you heard the fanfare by the Prime Minister of this country, Minister with responsibility for finance, speaking earlier this week during a political activity of his SLP. And somebody just called me just before I got in the air, public sector worker, to ask him, do you think that this was a genuine effort on the part of the Prime Minister and the government to improve the lot of public sector workers, or do you think the government is playing politics with this? And I asked him, what do you think? Anyway, it will remain there. But it's all about the politics. Okay, let's be blunt about it. But to what extent do you think that this will improve the financial position or situation of public sector workers in this country? And it's something that we do not discuss in this part of the world, and that is inflation. Your buying power. If you have $500 today, what can you purchase with that $500 compared to, let's say, 2019 and 2018, 2017, etc.? So if you have an extra $500, you know that it will just disappear over the next few days. And of course, you have to add to it the 2.5% health and security levy. Which takes me to a kind of a revelation that was made yesterday by the leader of the parliamentary opposition, and I've not been able to confirm. And that is the possibility that the value-added tax can be increased by about 2%. And Mr. Alan Chastanet described this as absurd. And remember, I want to stress, I have not been able to confirm this from the government of St. Lucia or the Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for finance. As a matter of fact, Mr. Philip J. Pierre is, as we speak, is in Barbados. He's attending the CARICOM Heads meeting. It began on the 19th and it ends on the 21st, that is tomorrow. And in his absence, Dr. Ernest Delay is the island's acting Prime Minister. Let us hear from the comment that was made by the leader of the parliamentary opposition, Alan Chastanet, during an exchange I had with him yesterday on NewsSpin.
I mean, I don't know if you've heard about it, Tim, or you've gotten any personal feedback about it, but the government now wants to recommend that we increase the VAT rate by 2% and keep on the 2.5% tax to be able to cover this universal health care service they're talking about. This is absurd. I mean, I don't know if you've heard about it, Tim, or you've gotten any personal feedback about it, but the government now wants to recommend that we increase the VAT rate by 2% and keep on the 2.5% tax to be able to cover this universal health care service they're talking about. This is absurd.
And that is our NewsSpin question of the day. What if the PJP government increases VAT to at least 15%, currently at 12.5%? You add 2%, it will be at least about 14.5%. What if? Now somebody going to tell me that could never happen. Not in St. Lucia. You think so? The fact that so many people have decided to go quiet on the many of the critical issues happening in our country. If for whatever reason the Prime Minister decides to announce that VAT will be increased from 12.5% to 14.5%, what do you think will happen? You think the struggling man, most struggling people in St. Lucia will take umbrage, will voice opposition to this? The people who led the Black Lives Matter protests a few years ago, do you think that they will come to the fore on behalf of the majority of the people in St. Lucia who are black? Do you think we'll hear from those individuals? And will the government be brave enough to increase VAT on the heels of a general election in St. Lucia? Well, based on the trend, based on possibilities, based on what has been happening, what has been said by so many people in this country, including the government, anything at all is possible. Because it's all about what? Protecting the victory. So as I said earlier on, public sector workers got their bonus. They're probably collecting it right now as we speak. At the credit unions, various financial institutions. And as was featured during the DBS News World last evening, the president of the Police Welfare Association says that the government actually imposed that back pay on police officers, and daily paid workers represented by the NWU apparently received it as well. And this is while there's been no finality towards their discussions, the PWA and the NWU, the discussions with the GNT, the government negotiating team. I really don't understand that. So forcing it down the throats of police officers and daily paid workers being represented by the National Workers Union. Well, let's hear from Zin Romulus. A report which was filed during the DBS News World features the president of the Police Welfare Association, Mr. Cameron Law.
In a national address on Tuesday evening, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre announced that police officers would also receive back pay alongside other public sector employees. This despite unconcluded salary negotiations between the government negotiating team and the Police Welfare Association for the triennium 2022 to 2025. This move, says President Cameron Law, is viewed by PWA members as highly disrespectful and not in keeping with the principles of good faith.
At the list, it is from the office of the Prime Minister and from the Prime Minister himself. We have not, the Prime Minister is one who have said that he does not interfere in the operations of the GNC. He has said that he does not interfere in the police force.
The GNT and PWA have yet to settle on an agreement related to a proposal put forward by the PWA for overtime and other allowances. At the last meeting between the parties, the GNT informed that the proposal was not considered by the government.
As he always says, his father was a police officer, that he would be more understanding as it relates to the process of negotiations. We wrote to the Prime Minister. We asked that the Prime Minister intervene, or we asked a meeting of the Prime Minister when we were not getting through with the GNT. The Prime Minister responded in writing that negotiations is within the purview of the GNT, of course with the mandate of the Cabinet. And so we should continue negotiations with the GNT. And for us to hear from the Prime Minister that he has imposed, and it's nothing less than an imposition, he has imposed a hike on our salaries without our consent, is disrespectful. And it is something that we have to look at very closely and send a clear message to the Prime Minister and any future Prime Minister that we will not accept this. Because if we allow this precedence to continue, pretty soon there will be no need for negotiations.
Following the Prime Minister's announcement on Tuesday evening, the PWA met with its members on Wednesday to discuss the way forward for negotiations. The PWA will meet with the GNT on Friday, February 21st, for what Law anticipates will be an amicable conclusion to the months-long negotiations.
Tomorrow we are having a meeting with the GNT and we will communicate immediately after the meeting to our members what the outcome of this meeting is. Our members have indicated at this point in time they are stressed out. They're tired. They're even weak. Mentally, they're tired and weak. And they need to find ways to manage their stress level. So we're saying to them, be patient and hold on. We're meeting with GNT tomorrow. Based on the outcome of the meeting with the GNT, we will communicate to them. And we hope that they're in good standing and good health to accept, the response or the message that we're going to send across to them based on what we hear from the GNT. And we will have a fruitful and productive weekend going forward.
At a town hall meeting on Tuesday evening in the constituency of Barbano, the Prime Minister again outlined the various interventions by his administration to improve the working conditions of police officers. He also reiterated that he did not want to be at variance with the police.
So right now, we have decided to work with the unions to improve the working conditions for the people of St. Lucia. They are trying to create problems some other place. But me, I, and the cabinet, if they think they will ever get me to look for trouble with people who serve this country, if they think that I will create any situation where the people of this country cannot get the security that they need, let them think again. Think again.
The National Workers' Union has also responded to the Prime Minister's pronouncements that fortnightly workers would also receive back pay. In a February 19th statement, the NWU called the announcement a flagrant attempt to disrespect, undermine, and interfere with the collective bargaining process. The NWU's General Secretary, Johan Herwood, pointed out that at its last meeting with the GNT, the union was informed by the GNT that they were still awaiting feedback from the Ministry of Finance to allow them to provide responses or counter-proposals to the NWU's submissions. This unprecedented behavior by the Prime Minister, says the NWU, raises serious concerns for the future of industrial relations in the country and cannot be allowed to germinate. For the DBS News World, Zane Romulus reporting.
Thank you very much, Zane, for that report which was filed last evening during the DBS News World. So it's basically an autocracy. an autocracy by the government. And that's what happens when you have governments that have huge majorities, and they believe that this should embolden them to abuse the authority that the people have given to them. And maybe as far as the government is concerned, worst case scenario, with this 13-2-2 mandate, because you have 2 so-called independent MPs, 13 government MPs, and 2 opposition MPs, that what will happen come the next general election, it might just lose a couple seats and return to power. Believes it has that kind of leverage. But the politicians in St. Lucia ought to know that this has been clearly demonstrated over the last 4 general elections, that you do not underestimate the voters of St. Lucia. Do not underestimate them. Do not also take them for granted. Do not believe that the fact that St. Lucians and the voters appear to be docile, that seem to be in a coma from time to time. Imagine, you've read those stories. A guy will be, you thought he died, and you buried the guy, and all of a sudden he's alive. We've come across those very weird stories, and that's how we ought to, from time to time, characterize the St. Lucian voter. Do not take the St. Lucian voter for granted. Negotiations are still underway, and you are imposing this increase on the PWA and the National Workers Union. My information is a number of nurses, as we speak, are querying those increases that the government would have given to them, and they're scheduled to receive today, because the math ain't mathing at all, I am told. And many of the nurses are currently meeting with HR. Some people are supposed to get, let's say, $1,000 odd. They're seeing there in the bank account $500, and they're asking pertinent questions. So we have this internal memo from the Chief Executive Officer of the Millennium Heights Medical Complex, Dr. Damian E. Greaves, to all staff, dated February 18th, 2025, subject disbursement of back pay by MHMC. Now, such a memo, one would have thought it would have been sent to the nurses at least a week in advance. But you're scheduled to get your little increase on the 20th. You receive this memo on the 18th. And it reads, the Board of Directors and Management of Millennium Heights Medical Complex, MHMC, is pleased to announce that a decision has been taken to disburse back pay to all staff, in alignment with the commitment made to public servants by the government of St. Lucia. The initiative is fully funded by the government of St. Lucia in association with the board and management who have actively advocated on behalf of the MHMC staff. This initiative, it continues, back pay calculations are based on the year-to-date payout of an employee's regular salary for each year of the triennium and influenced by the following: positions held during the period, sick and maternity leave. So if you called in sick a couple times, you took maternity leave, all that will be factored in to your back pay, so deductions will be made. Leave without pay, persons who acted during the period. Employees who were seconded to MHMC during the triennium will be compensated. The portion of the back pay outstanding to employees prior to secondment will be paid by the government of St. Lucia. As a statutory institution, it's important to clarify that this payment is separate and independent of any disbursement made by on behalf of the government of the Ministry of St. Lucia or the Ministry of Health. We understand the significance of this decision and are committed to ensuring a smooth and transparent process. We deeply appreciate your dedication and work and unwavering commitment delivering healthcare services to the citizens of the country. This decision reflects gratitude for your contribution and our ongoing efforts to support you. Thank you for all that you do Sincerely, CEO Dr. Damian E. Greaves. My understanding is that this issue will be taken up with the authorities, possibly by the St. Lucia Nurses Association. One other issue before we hear from you. Let's have a poem from a former president of the St. Lucia Civil Service Association, Miss Yvonne Edwin.
Dear Sir, Madam, I write with so many unanswered questions. Why are my brothers and sisters treated like servants? Is it the nomenclature, the orders that departments are run like plantations, colonial masters put in charge, handed those discretionary clauses, unilateral approaches, laced with their subjective interpretations? Why is there so much victimization affecting productivity and the real potential of those public servants? Unfairly treated, used and discredited, abused and demotivated. Movements stationed in those departments. How many still have to suffer at the hands of those colonial masters? Modern day slavery is a true reality. Public servants forced to operate, but not freely. Shackled silence echoes from walls. Lips stuck in the face of misery. Injustice praised, boxed in cubicles daily. To whom it may concern, is that the person assigned to address these urgent concerns? Slackness over competence.
All right, that's a poem by a former president of the St. Lucia Civil Service Association, Miss Yvonne Edwin. She's on the line right now. Hello and good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast.
Hi, good afternoon to you, Sam.
Yes, good afternoon to you. Explain, what's your poem all about?
Well, it's really a shared perspective on a lot of things that are happening within the public service. But the focus today is really the nomenclature that is used, even within the public service as well. So things like public servants and civil servants, and all the connotations that are associated to that, and slavery, colonial times, and the oppressiveness that is also very visible in a lot of departments and ministries. But what I wanted to bring focus to is the term public servants and how it's loosely used. And we've been hearing it all week. There is the laissez-faire attitude the public has about public servants. And for me, what I wanted to speak to on today was the fact that there are a lot of public officers, not servants, that are hardworking, and they're truly deserving of the back pay and the compensation for their hard work. But a lot is not said about that. When you hear public servants, you hear the laziness, the unproductive group, the bad apples, and they do not make up the whole bunch. And so I just wanted to give or highlight the hard-working public officers who are truly deserving of their back pay today. There's a lot of memes and a lot of things out there, but I think the true recognition needs to go to those officers. And when compensations like this come through, we need to recognize that and, emancipate ourselves from this slavery mentality, because really it's modern day slavery in some of those departments that are within the public sector.
So you're calling for a change in terms of how public sector workers are referred to, instead of public servants, civil servants. You're suggesting that they should be referred to as public officers?
Public officers, because truly that's what they are. And if we think of it in the context of any sector, if you think of, if somebody's working at KFC, would they want to be called a KFC servant? If you're working in a gas station, would you want to be called a Ruby servant, or tourism, or wherever, a supermarket? And so I think it's the nomenclature. And when the wrong people have that terminology in their everyday thinking, they treat people badly. And that is what I wanted to bring attention to.
But I don't think we should look at it from the perspective of public officers serving the people. So therefore, what's wrong with public servants?
No, I understand. Of course, it's a service that you're providing. But when the two are put together, this is where you have a lot of, unproductivity. But again, the focus should be on the fact that they are hardworking people who are truly deserving. Because you hear it in the corners. You hear when you hear somebody talk about a public servant, they do not really, have a respectful or a good perception. The perception is that they are unproductive, they are lazy. I walk into a ministry and I don't get service, but they are truly hardworking people.
I think it would be very difficult, ma'am, to convince ordinary Saint-Lucians that public officers are hardworking. Why do you think there is this perception? Because, we go to various ministries seeking services, and there's this inordinate delay, there's comeback. It's almost expected that you will be told that whatever service that you're seeking is unavailable.
And so there is something wrong with the system. There is something wrong with the fact that they might not be SOPs, procedures. There is something wrong with a department or ministry not being held accountable for producing or providing the service to the public. But I do not believe that it is primarily that all public officers are bad. And so there might be a root cause, there might be several contributing factors. And by no means am I dispelling that there aren't persons who do nothing or are not productive. In no way this is what I'm saying. It's the nomenclature and how it's so connected to slavery and the fact that people are not treated fairly is the highlight I want to bring to this issue.
But don't you think that public sector workers in St. Lucia, let's look at it from our perspective, they are well taken care of? That's this group of workers. Automatically, they get an increase in their salaries compared to private sector workers because of the fear that governments have of possibly, if you anger public sector workers, if you do not give them what they want or what is expected of the government, then you can lose a general election because of that.
And this is a cause of concern, and it's definitely a very healthy discussion to have. If someone is tasked to do something, they should be accountable to do that. And if you're going to lay and cast blame on one, then definitely you need to have a full perspective. There are various contributing factors to this. People's mental health is affected. The work environment people are caused to work in, it's not fair, it's not conducive. In some instances, it is perfect. You have all of the luxuries, but that does not apply in every case. And so various contributing factors can lead to unproductivity.
One final question. What do you think about public sector workers being politicized, being used as a political football from time to time?
Say that again, Tim?
Yeah, that's my final question to you. What do you think about public sector workers being used by politicians? Because the government will tell you, you see, what we did, we pay public sector workers. They're receiving the back pay. We're injecting millions of dollars into the economy come the 20th of February and so on. And so because of that, the government will be seen as an entity that is performing to the satisfaction of the general public by paying public sector workers what is due to them.
And so what I would say to that is a fair day's work requires or deserves a fair day's pay. But equally, the employees, the workers, everyone has to play their part, and they should be producing. By no means, it should be seen as a threat that if you don't do this, that persons will not do that. There are rules and regulations. And with every target, with every output that is required from the various sectors, I think somebody needs to be held accountable. And we tend to always put politics in things, but I do not think every issue in this country should be set against the backdrop of politics. You need to understand, if you count the number of public officers they are very large contributing factor to our society, to our economies. They are the breadwinners in a lot of households. And they come into the work environment with their own personal issues, with issues that confront them, whether it be societal, social, whatever it is. And so, again, a lot of contributing factors, and we tend to hold everything against the backdrop of politics, which is not always the case. And we need to look at things within the scheme that it falls.
Okay, ma'am.
And again, this is just to dispel the whole public servant, civil servant. It's too colonial. It's a slavery mentality, and again, it's like modern day slavery, and we need to be emancipated from this.
Okay,
and I think today we just need to accept that a fair day's work deserves a fair day's pay.
Thank you so much for speaking with us on this afternoon's NewsSpin program. You just heard there from former president of the St. Lucia Civil Service Association, Miss Yvonne Edwin. Let's take your calls right now at 452-2979. 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let me turn my attention to Amanda and what is happening in the chat room. Good afternoon to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, team. Good afternoon, News Spinners. Someone says here $500 can't even buy groceries. Another comment, Tim, the government will never increase VAT or income tax before the election. They will do it after the elections if they are to win, sorry. Another comment, they are stressed out. They should do like the guy who went to Shas's home at 5:30 in the morning to beat up his pan bottom. Go to PJP's house and do the same. Someone says here, PJP, you are not working with the union. You are imposing on them. You are behaving like a dictator. Another comment, so this was done without any consultation. Someone says, this decision reflects gratitude for your contribution. A News Spinner says here, the nurses were also hoodwinked when they allowed themselves to be fooled into thinking it would have been a bad thing to have a proper management company running the hospital. I wonder if they have buyer's remorse regarding their vote against their best interests. Someone says here, election coming, expect more madness to come. Now the comment reads, I don't know who is giving this Prime Minister that kind of advice, but he is wrong. He should have respected the St. Lucians again. Mr. Prime Minister, Lucians are your boss. You only have a job for 5 years. Another comment reads, modern slavery in the public sector in a country of black people with a little black boy as PM. Another comment, I have not found one civil service servant, public servant that worked hard. You leave messages and they don't return calls. They are not eager to help. They never know who is taking care of what.
We have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Okay, that call is... Yes, good afternoon.
Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yes, Tim. I've been trying to get you for the week, but
I hear that from
it's a lot of
I hear that from most people, caller. These days, I hear that from most people. But today's your lucky day.
Your program is too popular, man. A couple of issues, Tim. You know, that is the level at which the Labour Party administration operates, and yet still the public servants themselves, when UWP is in office, there is a completely different approach by the unions. You remember when we negotiated and public servants got 14.5% increase?
Yes.
Tim? You know at what point they started after they had accepted 000 from Kenny previously? They started at 26% increase. That is what they were looking at. Now we look at the rate of inflation in St. Lucia today. And I think the disrespect for me does not come from the fact that the government gave a back pay, you know. The disrespect comes when Philip J. Pierre, as Prime Minister, would come and give an address to the nation if he's granting somebody a favor, money that is owed to people, that they could have used their money almost a year ago, more than a year ago, you did not give them the money. Now the money is of less value. Because, Tim, you know what you could buy for $5 a year ago, you cannot buy this year for the same $5.
Inflation.
So the public, exactly, the public servants are actually at a disadvantage getting the money that late. But the Prime Minister comes and addresses the nation and is basically telling people that he has made an achievement or an accomplishment, and that paying people what they have earned is a favor that he is granting them. Tim, that is modern day slavery that we are talking about, you know. When you impose, now you use a nice word to describe it. This is a dictatorship that Philip J. Pierre is running. How you can come and announce that you have closed negotiations with public sector unions and their representatives when the unions themselves are saying that you have not closed anything, that they don't know what you are talking about? I mean, what kind of a government is running the affairs of this country? And then you look at the pressure under which nurses have to work. And Damian Greaves himself, another politician, who was once minister, wasn't Damian Greaves the Minister of Health at one time?
Yes,
Tim?
yes, he served in that capacity.
Did healthcare improve under Damian Greaves? So if he could not improve healthcare as the minister, maybe the person with the most authority in the health sector is as CEO of Millennium Heights, we expect an improvement of healthcare. And when you have disgruntled nurses, doctors, and policemen, what kind of service? There's a psychological impact on the minds of these people. Can they really give us the care and the protection that we need? And it's through no fault of this. This system is oppressing its workers. And unfortunately, the government and the working conditions, you remember when they passed that labor code? Does the labor code apply to the government team?
To the government or to government workers?
To government workers.
I'm not too sure about that.
It is worth looking into that, because the labor code, as I understand it, don't apply to the government, which is the biggest employer. I hope that the minimum wage applies to the government too, because when I hear the prices that some people are working for, it raises a lot of questions. Now, the Prime Minister speaks about these things as achievements and accomplishments. Over the years, every government that have been in office have owed public servants in the past and have had to pay them. When I became minister between 2006 and 2011, you remember WASA had been changed to WASCO. Mm-hmm. You remember when it used to be WASA, Tim?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I remember.
And the bargain and the agreement that the Labour Party had made was that everybody would be paid everything that was owed to them, and then they would be able to start with the new company on a new page. Do you know it was when the UWP came into office almost 5 years after they had changed from WASA to WASCO, that it was the UWP government and the WASCO workers had gone on strike. I remember going in the yard of WASCO and addressing the workers. And we were the ones who had to pay the workers. So for Philip J. Pierre to come and say, you know, I've done this for you. The money didn't come from his pocket, Tim. It's the taxpayers of this country who have paid the public servants a back pay. It's not Philip J. Pierre. It's not his cabinet of ministers. So they need to move away from this cheap political game that they are playing and focus on the key issues that are affecting the country. Now, the other one I really wanted to touch on was the Millennium Highway thing and the lousy and lame excuse given by Minister Stevenson King. First of all, what we were told him, rain. Then we were told, now we are hearing is the consultant and is not them, is CDB. Tim, CDB is just handling the financial aspect of that road. And I will remind St. Lucians, this road was delayed by almost a year from starting because CDB was objecting to the engineer recommended by Stevenson King and the Ministry of Infrastructure, because they felt that the engineer from the ministry that was recommended did not meet the requirements for implementation of a project of that nature. Did Mr. King comment on this? That the level of incompetence started in his ministry with him as minister? So, you know, it is easy for people to put blame. So if the consultant, and I know who the consultant is on the project, the consultant is FDL. FDL is the leading consultant for Caribbean Development Bank. In fact, when we went to a meeting at Caribbean Development Bank, they said if something happens to FDL, they don't know what they would do because FDL was handling so many projects for CDB around the region. You mean to tell me that all of a sudden Minister King wakes up and realizes that the consultant is a problem and is not really them implementing the project is CDB? Tim, that is a lie. CDB is not involved in the day-to-day implementation of the project. CDB may do periodical visits. And that is what is unfortunate. When ministers can come and tell the people of St. Lucia and reporters, give reporters false information, lie to the reporters about how a project is implemented and who's really responsible for implementing the project. And unfortunately, some of our people are not sufficiently knowledgeable about this thing to be able to even respond to the minister or ask the follow-up question. Because this is and he said that's not really our money. You believe that, Tim? So if a grant was given, if a grant was given to us, how is not our money?
It's our money. It's our money. Yeah, it is our money.
Exactly. The British government gave a grant to St. Lucia, and all CDB is doing, this is not a loan from CDB, you know. The money was channeled through the CDB to allow for the proper implementation of the handling of the financial aspect of the project. So for Minister King to come and give all that BS in an interview because they have proven that they are incompetent. And Minister King didn't start his incompetence under the Labour Party, you know. The Labour Party is only learning now what UWP has known for a number of years. Minister King is not fit or suited for the Ministry of Infrastructure. Maybe he can be more efficient somewhere else. But you see, in the ministry that he is there, he has been a dismal failure. You see the nightmare of traffic in Castries today, Tim? So it's only today they know independence is on the 22nd of February. And then you block it.
Are you there, sir? I think we have lost Mr. Guy Joseph. See if,
are you hearing
yes,
me?
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead, Mr.
Are
Joseph.
you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Is it only now they know that independence is coming? Who is implementing the Chaussee Road project?
Hello? Okay, the call is reconnecting. So we due for a break. The broadcast will continue in just a moment with more of your calls and your WhatsApp messages. Of course, this is the world's most monitored talk show. St. Lucia Shooting Association presents its Independence Day tournament on Sunday, 23rd of February at 9 o'clock at the Baudelaire Shooting Range in Dennery. Registration, AC, $100. To register, contact or call 717-6846. That's 717-6846. Food and drinks will be on sale. Make this a family day. Come on, come all. Once again, call 717-6846.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucilac is transforming how you move. With our new electric vehicle charging stations, getting a quick and reliable charge is easier than ever. From Rodney Bay to Dennery, Vieux-Fort and Soufriere, we've got you covered. Our cutting-edge network offers both fast and standard charging options. Convenient, efficient, and always ready when you are. Just download the Flash Charge app from Google Play or the Apple App Store, and with a few simple taps, you can set up an account and link it to a credit card, find a station, or scan the QR code to start charging in seconds. Lucilac is powering your journey and driving us toward a cleaner, greener future. Charge ahead with Lucilac's EV stations. Lucilac electric vehicle chargers, powering progress, energizing the future.
Taco Thursdays at Senior Snapper from Thursday, 13th February 2025 and every Thursday.
St. Lucia, your Thursdays just got a whole lot better. After work, there's only one place to be. Taco Thursdays at Senor Snapper Seafood Grill and Margarita Bar.
In Grizzly Town, that is Marie Therese Street.
Live DJ, fresh tacos, and island vibes. What more do you need? Tacos for just $10 plus 2-for-1 margaritas and mojitos to keep the good times flowing.
Thursdays is Taco Thursdays at Senor Snapper.
For it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
Are you tired of going from doctor to doctor, spending time and money, yet still not getting the answers you need? Now, at La Clinique du Corps Diagnostic Center of Excellence, we bring you the latest in medical technology, our state-of-the-art radiation-free full-body MRI. With unmatched accuracy, we can detect illnesses early, giving you the answers you deserve and the treatment you need, saving lives and saving money. No doctor referral needed. Results in just 24 to 48 hours. Plus, a free consultation with a doctor to explain all your results in detail. Don't wait. Take advantage of this special offer and book your full body MRI at our Cocoville, Rodney Bay, or Castries locations. Call 451-6559 now. La Clinique du Corps. Your health is our priority.
Essie, don't tell me that tire flat again. I just changed that tire.
Wait, what? You just changed that tire?
Well, I bought a used one because you didn't give me enough money.
Oh, I see. Well, you know what? Chivi's Tire Shop only carry brand new quality tires at affordable prices with free installation.
Hey, it seems you're working at Chivi's Tire Shop. How you know all that?
Come on, Brenda. The tire shop down the road from our home in the American Drywall Building.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Well, you know what, Patrick? Let's go there right now. Take your wallet. Let's go.
Chivi's Tire Shop, located at the American Drywall Building, Vic Boutte. Call or WhatsApp 584-5986. Chivi's Tire Shop. Pay less, drive more.
St. Lucia, it's time to celebrate 46 years of independence with a big deal from KFC. Introducing the KFC Independence Big Box, packed with all your favorites for just $46. You get 5 delicious undipped wings with 1 sauce, 1 zinger or big crunch sandwich, 2 pieces of chicken, 2 regular fries, and 2 refreshing 16-ounce sodas. Perfect for sharing or keeping all to yourself, because independence is all about choice. But hurry, this big deal is only available from February 1st to February 28th. Get your Independence Big Box today, only at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Get ready for the all-in Independence Sale at MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt. Enjoy 25% off store-wide on small appliances, housewares, tools, and so much more. Plus, don't miss out on our amazing doorbuster deals from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's the perfect time to save on your favorite brands. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Visit us at MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt, island-wide from February 27th to March 2nd for the all-in Independence Sale event. Terms and conditions may apply. See online or in-store for more details.
This is the most monitored talk show in the world, where we continue with your calls, your WhatsApp messages, your discussions, surprises. You never know what will happen on this broadcast. Let me turn my attention to Amanda. Let's find out what is happening in the chat room, ma'am.
A few comments from earlier. Someone says, caller, our politicians are public servants, who the majority of which are lazy, greedy, uncouth, self-serving, arrogant, and entitled. Another comment, all public servants are not to be blamed, but the service of the agency sucks in St. Lucia and nobody is held accountable. Someone says here, guys, more than one thing can be true. Most civil servants, politicians included, are incompetent. Admitting that does not mean there are those amongst them who work hard and are productive. Stop that. Another comment reads, as far as I am concerned, civil servants should only get an increase when the economy has a surplus. That thing about getting an increase every year is crazy. Someone says here, what needs to happen in the public service is for the employees to be judged based on their performance annually and receive increases in their salary. The idea that they cannot be touched in terms of termination of employment is ridiculous. Another comment reads, let them believe is a favor Peep granting them. Shake my head. Someone says here, Mr. Guy Joseph is quite right regarding the project implementation.
WhatsApp message, somebody says they have noticed a major problem with our vehicles in St. Lucia, especially the lorries and other trucks. We don't have any lights at the back of those vehicles, example, indicator lights, reverse lights, brake lights, hence the reason for all those accidents on the road. What is Ministry of Transport doing about this? That should be illegal and should be addressed ASAP. Don't know if you have any more comments, Amanda?
Just a few. Someone says there, is this shooting tournament for legal gun or all gun owners? What a fitting independence event amidst our crime crisis. Someone here says, I have to work to take care of my elderly folks. Why is there a government? All you hear about is civil servants like they are the only ones working in St. Lucia. The farmers and I are I'm not talking about banana farmers only. I am talking about the small farmers, those who are at the backbone of the economy. They are left hanging. If they do not have someone to take care of them, crap or smoke their pipe. How is this fair? Yet during elections, the politicians come crawling like cockroaches to get them for their votes. When they get to the office, they are forgotten.
Pato is online. He celebrated his birthday yesterday. Happy belated birthday to you, sir. You're on the air.
Today is my lucky day. Today is my lucky day.
Yes, go ahead, Pato. How was your birthday yesterday?
That was great. All
right.
First, I just want to say greetings to you and Amanda. Hope all is well with you guys. Okay, we'll talk about the birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I always also want to big up our friendly neighbor in Canada. I think you know who I'm talking, right?
Yes, the atheist.
Yeah. Okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
We don't agree on that part there. But when we put that aside, it's lots of respect to him,
Yeah.
So I just want to say big up to you, my brother. If you are listening, you take care of yourself. We will talk any other time. Okay, I just want to say big up to you. Okay. The birthday, I don't know too much about the birthday. It was my birthday.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Explain.
Oh, good. The day might be different, right? But the date is always the date. Because you can find that it was yesterday was Wednesday, and the day that I born was not really a Wednesday. It could have been a Thursday or whatever day.
Right.
But all date is the same date. Anytime 19th of February come, that is my birth date. I'm not too sure about the birth date. But I will leave that there for a side, okay? But I enjoy myself until I turn 74. I thank God for that, okay? Yeah. The other thing, at the end of my contribution, I will give a number because somebody did ask for my number. But what is happening, Tim? I said that a while ago, and I just thought of not only myself but others that are disabled, people that are lying down on a bed, and the government put a 2% tax on us extra, to take care of health and security. And I'm not seeing that it is not working. You find that even people like me, if I have to go to the hospital just for a checkup, I will have to call the ambulance. I cannot maneuver myself in a car or anything. So, Tim, people they don't know, but I'm just saying it. I have to call the ambulance. So I don't see no reason why they cannot put in place a doctor to give elderly people a home visit, even though it's every 3 months a checkup. Yes, it is true. The nurses and the health aides, they are passing from time to time, but they cannot do what a doctor will do. So all that money they are collecting for help, it is not going no place. All what I'm seeing in St. Lucia, the things that are supposed to be going up, it is going down. And what that are supposed to be going down, it is going up. Let me come down. There was a certain time you would hear Catherine Sealis would open up her mouth, and anything that had happened to a female, she would talk about it. I'm not hearing that. So instead of she raising her voice now, she lower her voice. Another thing, health care should be going up. Better health care, it is going down. Crime should be going down. Less people each year, it is going up. So they have that thing devant derrière, cabo we devant be. C'est moi just dis ça en Kewol, ou c'est mon an grand moun ki la. Moi fil gouvernement ça fait pli meilleur ban nous, qui passe à quitter kay nous pour venir ban nous ti visite. Il peut c'est tous les 3 mois passer by un petit check pour santé ou comprendre et femme on kay faire l'instant ba ou ni pour trouver corps en l'hôpital. Là où arriver là, ou pas ça même joindre assistance. Vous comprenez? Tim, I will leave it as that. Okay, for the time. May God bless you, my brother.
Pato, you say you wanted to give a number, a telephone number?
Oh, yes. My number is 518.
518.
9829.
9829, okay.
518-9829. Straight call.
Okay,
and
Pato.
My WhatsApp number is 518-7894. 518-7894. Anybody who has that problem with phosphate, give me a call and we will talk. We'll take it from there. Thank you so very much.
Okay, Pato, take care. Nice hearing from you.
Pick up yourself.
All right, take care. All the best. Let's see what's happening in the chat room. Amanda will be providing us with our final update from her. We have a guest coming in just a moment. Stay with us. Amanda, what's happening in the chat room?
A few comments I missed earlier. Someone says solutions don't know what UWP policies are. Shake my head. They refuse to read and watch the context of things. What's going on now by these idiots in government? UWP don't need to come with any policies, in my opinion. Their record speaks volumes. Another comment reads, that's why Sir John Compton said he will never politicize the public sectors. And that's exactly what Kenny Anthony did from 1997. And this is now destroying our country. And in the chat room, someone says, Air Team, the shooting event coming up at the BCF shooting range, the organizers should not have a problem getting participants. We have shooters all over the island shooting uselessly. And that's it for me, Tim.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Still to come, we have a special guest. This is the most monitored talk show in the world. It is called NewsSpin.
There is only one option when they arrive. Our services will make the dead look alive. With Bouteille and Beaufort accessibility. Remember, we have the only private cemetery. No one can match our prices from coffins to corsage. Personalized service you get when Lazarus take charge. Quality service, no package to make your wallet bleed. Lazarus is your true friend in your time of need.
Lucelec is transforming how you move. With our new electric vehicle charging stations, getting a quick and reliable charge is easier than ever. From Rodney Bay to Dennery, Vieux-Fort and Soufriere, we've got you covered. Our cutting-edge network offers both fast and standard charging options. Convenient, efficient, and always ready when you are. Just download the Flash Charge app from Google Play or the Apple App Store, and with a few simple taps, you can set up an account and link it to a credit card. Find a station or scan the QR code to start charging in seconds. Lucelec is powering your journey and driving us toward a cleaner, greener future. Charge ahead with Lucelec's EV stations. Lucelec electric vehicle chargers, powering progress, energizing the future.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Here's a fun fact. In just 29 seconds, you can say goodbye to paper bills forever. Seriously, in 29 seconds. That's less time than this ad. Head over to discoverflow.co or visit us in-store and update your contact information now. By October 1st, your bills will be digital, easy to access, secure, and hassle-free. So what are you waiting for? This ad still has 2 seconds left, and you could have already gone paperless.
St. Lucia, it's time to celebrate 46 years of independence with a big deal from KFC. Introducing the KFC Independence Big Box, packed with all your favorites for just $46. You get 5 delicious undipped wings with 1 sauce, 1 zinger or big crunch sandwich, 2 pieces of chicken, 2 regular fries, and 2 refreshing 16-ounce sodas. Perfect for sharing or keeping all to yourself, because independence is all about choice. But hurry, this big deal is only available from February 1st to February 28th. Get your Independence Big Box today, only at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Are you tired of going from doctor to doctor, spending time and money, yet still not getting the answers you need? Now, At La Clinique du Corps Diagnostic Center of Excellence, we bring you the latest in medical technology, our state-of-the-art radiation-free full-body MRI. With unmatched accuracy, we can detect illnesses early, giving you the answers you deserve and the treatment you need, saving lives and saving money. No doctor referral needed. Results in just 24 to 48 hours. Plus, a free consultation with a doctor to explain all your results in detail. Don't wait. Take advantage of this special offer and book your full body MRI at our Cocoville, Rodney Bay, or Castries locations. Call 451-6559 now. La Clinique du Corps. Your health is our priority.
Watch this view here. If you missed it, yeah, itchy nose.
The St. Lucia National Cricket Association Prime Minister's Cup is back. It's going down at 4 venues: PI, Philip Masler Grounds, Groseley, and Mindu Philip Park. Games will be played both day and night. Will the champions Groseley defend their title, or will we see a newly crowned champion this year? Teams taking part: last year's champion Groseley, runners-up Central Castries, South Castries, Babano, Monrepo, Mikud, Soufre, Viewfort North, Viewfort South, Denry, Choiseul, Babia Valley, and Deriso. This tournament rolls off on February 18th with defending champions Groseley coming up against Babano at 7 p.m. on the Groseley playing field. Games will be played from 10 a.m., 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Come out and support your favorite team. It's the St. Lucia National Cricket Association Prime Minister's Cup coming to a venue near you. Who's gonna emerge champions this year?
Get ready for the all-in independence sale at MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt. Enjoy 25% off store-wide on small appliances, housewares, tools, and so much more. Plus, don't miss out on our amazing doorbuster deals. From 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., it's the perfect time to save on your favorite brands. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Visit us at MNC Home Depot and Sunbelt, island-wide from February 27th to March 2nd for the all-in independence sale event. Terms and conditions may apply. See online or in-store for more details.
This is the most monitored talk show in the world. I have a special guest. You'll be hearing from him or her in just a moment. First, somebody says, belated birthday wishes to you, Patu. You may be disabled, but your voice is not. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message to go through. Somebody says that Mary Ratcliffe's daughter is everywhere. Okay, Mary Ratcliffe's daughter is everywhere in Castries, walking all about. I feel sorry for her. No one has come forward to help her. So sad, Tim. And we'll be focusing on this during the course of our broadcast tomorrow afternoon. And here's hoping that the wider St. Lucian community definitely can come forward and assist her, because definitely this is heart-wrenching. Somebody says there, send Mr. Pato number for me, please, both of them. Okay, I'll be doing that. Let me turn my attention now to my special guest, former Prime Minister of St. Lucia, leader of the opposition, MP for Miku South, and he is Mr. Alan Chastanet. Welcome to the program, sir.
Great to be here, Tim.
What's in your mind right now?
First of all, I'm going to just take this opportunity before I forget, to wish you happy independence.
Thank you, sir.
I see the place is beautifully decorated.
Very much so.
I'm not so sure who did that. Maybe it was Amanda?
Yes, and the other staff members as well.
Well, they did a really great job. So again, happy independence to you.
Same to you.
And I want to wish certainly the constituents from Miku South happy independence, and also to all St. Lucians to wish them a happy independence. I'm here today because earlier today I had a press conference, Tim, where I announced that I have actually filed a judicial review case on the CIP program. So basically, I have challenged the legality and the lawfulness and the administration of the operation of the Citizenship by Investment Program.
Okay, in detail, what's it all about?
So, over the last 2 years, we've been getting a lot of information about CIP. Certainly, even before the MSR case came out, there were concerns. When the MSR case came out, and then followed by the RICO case, and also the judicial review case in St. Kitts, a lot of information came out. as to what was happening in St. Kitts. It became important to me because the players were the same players, Galaxy and Lescan. And then we saw with the case of St. Kitts, the infrastructure program, specifically the prison, where Galaxy was given about $1 billion worth of citizenships to sell in exchange for building a $50 million prison. And all the passports or citizenship had been sold, but the prison had not been sold. Then details came out that Galaxy was allowed to collect all of the money. Then further details came out that the person who was overseeing that project for the government of St. Kitts, Les Can, who was part of the suit by MSR, that in the RICO case, they were able to obtain bank records of his bank accounts. And in those records, it showed that Galaxy had paid him money while he was the CEO. We kept on asking questions here in St. Lucia based on the information that we were getting from the RICO case, because we saw a similar program, a similar infrastructure program being done here, and we'd heard that there was an amendment to the hotel project. And we kept on asking for details. Remember, time after time, asking the minister, how many files have been approved? Nothing was forthcoming. We then saw that Claude Emmanuel was included in the RICO case. And then we heard after the fact that he had gone to Washington, D.C. to meet with the lawyers of MSR. And we were also informed that he met with law enforcement agents in the U.S. Despite numerous attempts to get him to tell us what had happened, he didn't. The Prime Minister denied that he knew that he went there, denied that he went on official business. That was soon exposed as being a lie, because we found out the CIP unit was paying his legal fees. We then found out that the government of St. Lucia, for both Ernest Hilaire and also Claude Emmanuel, decided to use their diplomatic status and declare immunity against the RICO case. And we saw that the case was then dropped. And then, probably in November of last year, Tim, 4 contracts were leaked and made it into the public domain. And so the contracts were the old contract with Galaxy, the one that I did with them, a new contract with Galaxy in 2022, and 2 infrastructure contracts with Galaxy and BMAX. And it really was those contracts that really we then realized how egregious and how illegal what was taking place in St. Lucia. So the contract for the hotel, it was amended in 2022, and they increased the allocation from $210 million, that's what we gave Galaxy, $210 million of citizenships, and they increased it to $1 billion US. But there was no fundamental change to the size of the project. They also gave Galaxy exclusivity for 2 years, meaning that no other project was allowed to come in for 2 years. And very importantly, they made Galaxy a promoter. So by making them a promoter, Tim, it allowed them the government to pay them, the CIP unit to pay them a commission. And the commission turned out to be the exact same amount of money that we were supposed to collecting from the administrative fee. So in essence, here it is, we have a $300 million hotel, which is going to get $1 billion in CIP funds. And even the commission, which comes to $150 million US, is not coming to the state, it's going to them. So we're going to collect nothing. So the question that the lawsuit asks is, why? What would be the logical reason for doing that? And clearly, we believe it's because of malfeasance. The government has not acted in the best interest of the state. And we think it's criminal what they have actually done in that particular project. The second contract was the contract with the infrastructure, where 2 infrastructure contracts were signed, one in November of 2023 and one in January of 2024. So the one with BMAX, Tim, BMAX was given $80 million worth of citizenships to do a $23 million US project in Rockall. So they were going to build 66 houses for $23 million US, which is about $1 million EC dollars per house. Okay? In that particular contract, when BMAX sold the citizenships, the citizens had to deposit the money into the CIP unit, and the CIP unit would have put it into the economic fund. Very good. Right? That means that the economic fund would have had to have a separate contract with BMAX to execute the work program. But we don't have that contract. We don't know what's happened. 2 months later, they signed a new contract with Galaxy. The minister agrees to borrow $100 million from Galaxy to be used for infrastructure. But instead of the $100 million coming to the government of St. Lucia, the $100 million stays with Galaxy. Galaxy keeps all the money. So Galaxy was given $600 million worth of passports, citizenships, to sell to recover $100 million. All the money and the administrative fee goes to Galaxy. And the only thing a person applying for citizenship has to do is to show that they paid the administrative fee. We don't know where the rest of the money is gone. We claim in our suit that one, that the minister has acted ultra-virusly, meaning he's acted outside of his authority. Does not have the authority to borrow money on behalf of the state. Does not have the authority to reimburse somebody on behalf of the state. The Public Finance Management Act does not allow him to do that. Okay, so that's where we say he's acting ultra-virusly in that particular circumstance. How do you now go from $100 million to $600 million? Now, when we go back to St. Kitts, the answer to that question was the reason why Galaxy was given $1 billion is because they were never intending to sell the citizenships for the regulated price. And there was evidence provided in St. Kitts where people were purchasing the citizenships under the market price. And the government of St. Kitts, now realizing that, has asked them to prove that they paid the right amount. And if they didn't, they have to pay the difference. And if they don't pay the difference, their citizenship would be revoked. So the question is, we thought the same thing was happening in St. Lucia. And we were able to get evidence from promoters and individuals that the government of St. Lucia, we believe, knew that Galaxy was underselling. That's why they would have given them $1 billion, right? And therefore, in selling those citizenships under the market price, the regulated price, means it becomes illegal. And that's the third part of our claim, that some of the passports have been sold under price, which makes the whole program illegal. Now, a key component here, Tim, is the government has been, and lawyers here in St. Lucia have been boasting about how many files they're processing. They said they're working overtime. I also reliably informed that the passport office is working on weekends issuing passports to try to keep up with the demand that they have for the passports in the CIP program. We've asked for an injunction. We think that the court should prohibit the minister and CIP unit from issuing any more citizenships until the outcome of this case is heard. Because if in fact we are right, how do you remedy the problem? How do you fix the problem? How do we now go back to all the persons who've obtained passports under an illegal program?
But don't you think that this will affect the CIP program in St. Lucia, considering that cases of that nature can be very complicated, and also the delay that is anticipated? Those can take, maybe months, maybe years before you get an outcome.
Well, this is why the injunction is so important. Because I think knowing the truth and knowing that there is no corruption taking place, Tim, is more important. Because you have a situation here right now where the patrimony of St. Lucia is being given away. When you take $1 billion of citizenships from the hotel, and let's understand, the hotel started construction in 2019, Tim. We're in 2025. They've only spent $10 million on the ground for a $300 million hotel. Right? So what we're expected to get in return for all this is not happening. So $1 billion. Then now the commission, which is another $150 million. So that's 1.15 billion US dollars. Then now 600 million US for the infrastructure program from Galaxy, plus another 100 million US dollars approximately for BMAX. So you're talking about close to 1.5 billion, sorry, 2.2 billion US dollars. That's money that's supposed to be owned by the state, either in the form of a hotel or in the form of fees, but there's supposed to be evidence of that. All that money has gone. So even when we talk about the management of the escrow account, let's take the minister's words for himself. He has said repeatedly, the money in the escrow account does not belong to the state. But that's a lie. If it doesn't belong to the state, why was there an escrow account? The escrow account is there for the state to ensure that the money that they're collecting goes to the use it's supposed to be, which is to build the hotel. And we're only seeing $10 million being spent. So are you telling me that there's over 500 million US dollars in the escrow account? We don't know. We don't know. And we've continuously asked them for those questions, answer those questions. Now, the contracts that were leaked tell us the story. So there's no hiding it anymore. It's in the contract. And that's what we're saying, is that the contracts that were written, all of them, are illegal, are acting ultra-virously, and are not acting in the best interest of the state. Now, as leader of the opposition, I was hoping that other entities would have stood up. Civil society, they've seen the contracts the same way I've seen the contracts. Civil servants, senior civil servants. How does the Director of Finance allow this to happen? How does the Director of Finance allow for our Financial Act to be breached? How does our Attorney General? Now, when you have an Attorney General that is so conflicted, has made so many unreasonable decisions, do I expect and should I continue to wait here for him to step up?
But do you run the risk of the court ruling against you and you suffering a huge embarrassment as far as your legal challenge is concerned?
Absolutely.
You're prepared to pay that price?
Of course. But that's whenever you go to court, that's always the possibility. But I will never be embarrassed about trying to stand up to represent the people of this country. You know, a person just asked me recently, similar question to you, oh, you're doing this for yourself. I said, really? How? So the case is for you. I said, no, the case is not for me. I said, if I win the case, right? Who wins? Do I get money? No. The people of this country get back their patrimony. That's who wins. They win. And to your point, if I lose, it's my money and my reputation that I lost. But I'm happy. Not happy. But I'm willing to put those up to help protect the people of this country. Genuinely. And the facts speak for itself. I don't benefit anything if we win.
You benefit politically, though, if you were to win.
But that's a heavy price to pay. But I'm doing it more for the people than I am doing it for me. I don't believe I need to do this politically. I think that there's enough information that's out there that a lot of people would recognize that there's a problem. The court of public opinion. But right now, it pains me to see with CIP how much money is being siphoned off of this country and going we don't know where. GPH, why would you give an outside firm all your concessions for the cruise ships? Did you know, Tim, that St. Lucia was the first country in the Caribbean to build a dedicated cruise ship port? 1981. Government of St. Lucia built Point Seraphin. I was working as an economist. Right? Leslie Clark, whole bunch of other people, Charmaine Gardner, we're all on the board. Right? NDC is the entity that built it, along with SLASPA, in 1981. So you're telling me in 2025, there's not entities in St. Lucia that could have fixed Point Seraphin, expanded the port, and fix up the vendors arcade and do the Banana thing? or fix up the waterfront in Soufrière? And then to make it worse, that the Ministry of Finance at $6.50 said, don't do it. You proceed to do it on April Fool's Day. And now the head tax has gone to $12.50. I don't know if you remember when I was in this same seat and I told you that I had negotiated as Prime Minister already for it to go to $12. So you knew. So if it was going to be $12, and imagine SLASPA was to get the $10, and SLASPA was making it work on $2.50, what SLASPA could do with $10? But you give it away, and all that money is gone, $440 million over the next 40 years, at minimum, because if we do better than 1 million passengers, it'll be more than that. No tendering. And I want to say, checks and balances. There is a board of independent people, meaning there are people who are put on that board representing institutions who said nothing and have been members of that board. Shame on them. They're supposed to be there representing the interests of the people of this country, not the government. And if they think that something is wrong, say so. And that is why we are here today with the CIP case. Same thing. How are you telling me the Director of Finance, the central bank, don't see what is going on? Listen to this, You've heard that they're putting together a regulatory agency. You heard that, for CIP.
No, I haven't heard.
Yeah, they're putting a regulator.
So, yes. Intention to do so, yes.
Okay, so they put a board together. But I'm thinking the board that they put in is the regulation board, of which Jean-Marie is a member of the board. Only be told that that board is an advisory board on setting up the regulator. And so therefore the regulator is not going to be up and running until the end of the year. And we're in a crisis. Is that acceptable? Is that how people who are in key positions to protect the assets of our states are supposed to behave and act? Who are we fooling?
We will take a few calls for you, Mr. Leader of the Opposition. In the meantime, yesterday you made a comment about plans by the government to possibly increase VAT by 2%. The veracity of this?
There's a document that was presented at some groups of an entity that's working with the government to bring in national health care insurance, national health care. Now, here it is, we're in the fourth year of the administration of a prime minister who said he was the most ready. And I keep on laughing because he said he was even more ready than Prime Minister Compton. Anyway, so he's the most readied. Healthcare was a key issue, right? You said you were bringing in national health care. And 4 years later, you have a company going around to try to now introduce it. And part of that introduction is how it's going to be funded. So it's going to be funded by maintaining the 2.5% health and security tax and by adding now another 2% to VAT. Now, is that far-fetched? Before the elections, we warned the people of St. Lucia that the Labour Party was intending to increase VAT to 17%. Remember, it's my administration that brought it down to 12.5% and had every intention of bringing it down to 10%. And I admitted from the get-go, because I wanted to have eliminated VAT altogether and to go to a sales tax. And I said from early, when I met with the IMF and the World Bank, and they gave me their rationale as to why the comparison between a VAT and a sales tax in terms of its efficiency, I had to agree with them. So I changed our policy to, we're going to reduce the VAT now to 10%. Okay? This government wants to go in the opposite direction. This government only knows how to tax its way out of a problem. It does not care about the people of this country. It doesn't care about the consequences of what's happening to the people of this country.
Once again, 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Some quick questions for my guest. Once again, the Leader of the Opposition. We have a call on the line. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Tim, good day, Tim.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Mr. Chastanet.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Happy Independence.
Yes, sir. Same to you, sir. Tim, just last evening, I got some information that those CIP passports are still being issued, and that freaked me out. And is it true? Is it true that CIP passports are being issued on weekends and processed on weekends? And Tim, who's giving an account? And Mr. Chastanet is there. Who's giving an account of the update or any update on the Connell's Hotel? Because my instructions are that 2024, there has been very little, if any, work done on that hotel in the past year. With so much money given to Galaxy, Tim, there is something fundamentally wrong with that the process with Galaxy, and I'm happy that finally somebody is going to show up to represent Galaxy in that injunction. I thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We'll take some more calls. 452-2979, 452-2979. Once again, WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026.
So the caller's right. They are processing passports over the weekend. The caller is also absolutely right. There's nothing taking place in Galaxy. We had people go down there and to do an assessment for us. And we're estimating that as of today, they've spent no more than $10 million US, 30 million EC dollars on a project that's supposed to cost $300 million. And the caller's right, that they've collected millions of dollars.
452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Again, 716-2026. Good afternoon to you. On the landline, you are on the air. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon. Quick comment or question, sir. Go ahead, please.
A comment I want to give about the Caspi City Council, Tim.
No, caller, we have a guest. We have
you'll have a guest.
we have Mr. Alan Chastanet on right now.
Oh.
Do you have a question or comment for him?
Yeah, well, the question I want to ask him, when we get into government, what I would like to see is to review that CIP passport problem we have. Because we have the Labour government in power and we're not getting any information. Because right now the Prime Minister, every time you ask him questions, I don't know. When you get into power, are you going to follow up on that, Mr. former Prime Minister? This is my question to you.
Thank you so much for calling, sir.
Yeah, look, there's things that are already in place that we should be adhering to. If you remember, Tim, the current CIP board, we don't even know who the chairman is. Yeah. Right? They can't even answer that basic question. They're supposed to produce an annual report and an audited report 6 months after the financial year. The last one that they laid was 1 year late. 1 year. So it's 18 months after the fact. And then now the one that was due in October, we're in February and it's still not published. How do we hold them accountable when they're not providing the basic information? And civil society, as well as senior civil servants, who ought to be putting pressure on them to do this, are not doing it.
We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Happy Independence to you all. I just want to put a question to Alan Chastanet.
Go ahead, please.
If we were to be elected at the next election, what are your three major plans for the island of St. Lucia? I'll listen off air. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Healthcare, national security, immediately. Okay? I think the plans that we had started in healthcare and also with national security, the border control, what we were doing with the police, the forensic lab, the integration with all of the cameras, is to get on top of that really fast and to spare no resources to get this thing resolved fast, because it's having a significant implication. The situation of introducing healthcare insurance immediately and bringing back a proper management system at OKEU, getting St. Jude's open and continuing to strengthen our healthcare centers would be my absolute priorities right off the bat, Tim.
We have a call on the landline. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Hi, good day to you, Timothy, and to the leader of the opposition, Mr. Chastanet.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good. My question to Mr. Chastanet, St. Lucia knows back in June 6, 2023, we had the Minister for Cassius Central, the MP rather, and then Ernest had to present a report to the House of Parliament on June 6 for the matter that was taken to the Privilege Committee. We also knew it was extended to 30th September 2023. And since then, we haven't heard anything about that. So just if the leader of the opposition could give us some info as to where those two matters stay for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling.
So there was a matter where I was in court with Ernest. He had taken me to court on defamation, and if you remember, it made it to the privileges to the Privy Council. It's supposed to go back to the High Court. It's over a year, has not gone back to the High Court to be closed, and for the cost to be assigned, because the decision of the Privy Council supports my case. In the case of Richard Frederick, I am in court. He's taken me again on defamation over the Bonanza land. That case is coming up in March, so I'm hoping that we will be able to hear that case. I think that the evidence is overwhelming because we have the minutes of the board meeting, which clearly show that the land at Bonanza was sold to Reno Gajada, not to Gifta Eugene. It also shows that SLASPA was interested in purchasing the land. And there's two very strong pieces of evidence in the case to show that. And it means that both the CEO of SLASPA and the Minister of Infrastructure, Stevenson King, I think have committed perjury. Now, that's for the court to make that final determination because they gave affidavits to say that SLASPA was never interested in the Bonanza land. So those are the two cases. Hopefully those are the two cases the person is speaking about that I know that we're waiting for the outcome. The other one is that we're waiting for is we applied yesterday to the appeal to the CCJ for permission for the judicial review on the control of customs decision to withdraw the case against Ernest Hilaire and his car.
We have a call. 452-2979, 452-2979. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Sir.
I'm happy.
Can you speak directly to the phone, please? Quick comment or question?
I am basically making an appeal, if you will, to civil society to support this current action being taken by Mr. Chastanet. The outstanding money, a lot of St. Lucians don't understand it, is real money. Now, we haven't had to here in St. Lucia. We think that banks are the only place you can put money. But when these internationally based people go out there are a million ways money could be hidden. And the longer it stays out there, the less likely it will be collected. And Tim, I'll call your program and explain to you what I mean one of these days. There's a possibility we could lose every single cent. So we've got to move very, very quickly and support the leader of the opposition in his current action. That's all I want to say for now.
All right, thank you so much. We have another call this time via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, good afternoon, Rick.
Before I ask my question, with your permission, I'd like to make a plea to Mr. Chastanet. Mr. Chastanet, I wish you would inform your supporters that I am not in your payroll, that I don't work for you. I'm a free agent, and whatever I say is what I choose to say. I wish you'd do that for me, please. I don't think you're too happy with me when I ask serious questions or when I include you among other prime ministers who I criticize. You don't like that at all. Anyway.
But you'll have to clarify whether you're on PJP's payroll as well, huh?
No, I'm not. Most definitely not. Okay.
Okay.
Most definitely not. I would like to know if you now, like Kenny Anthony currently, have any reservations about the CIP program. One, make a note of that. Two, when we talk about due diligence, is that due diligence applicable only to people who want to buy a passport? Or does that due diligence extend to the various departments that handle the proceeds or the whole program itself from this end, I would figure that if there is any due diligence, it probably would be the accounts of the CIP. Would that be correct?
Yes.
And if it's the accounts, we haven't. How far back are we in terms of the accounts being presented before Parliament?
Right now, we are 6 months behind on the last report.
Yeah, 6 months.
Yes.
So what does that say about due diligence of the program from this end?
We don't take it seriously.
And by the way, those accounts, are they accessible to the leader of the opposition's office so that he can fine-tune for him and the account himself?
No, we only get the final report. Now, you do bring up an interesting point because there is a step.
I'm not hearing you, sir.
Okay. I do not get it. I only get the final report when it's put in the House. But there is an entity, which is the Auditor General, and the Auditor General ought to be obtaining the reports before it is put before the House.
Well, considering audited reports, even with the government's finances are behind, I would take it that that's not much of a mechanism.
It should be.
Shoulda. Let me quote the Labour Party. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. So that's my three questions. You didn't answer the reservations yet. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks so much, Rick. We'll take a final call in just a moment.
So let me put it for all of sundry. I have had the privilege of knowing Rick Wayne for many, many years. In fact, I remember when Rick was having difficulty in opening up the Star, and my father was the one who defied everyone and allowed or rented Rick a spot at Colony House.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
And my father came under a lot of pressure. And so I've known Rick since way back when. Rick is an independent thinker. And if you don't take that perspective sometimes, it's easy to become offended or to find criticism of him. But what you can say about Rick is that there is a complete consistency, and the fact is he speaks his mind. He revels in the idea of persons who want to come after him, and he's very quick to discern the difference between people who are coming after him with points, with facts, versus persons who are trying to protect their own reputations. I think you've probably seen that.
Yeah.
And he becomes a real attack dog when he realizes that it's on a personal basis and not on a factual basis, because he wants to argue with you, and he'll take a very contrary position sometimes in order to bring that information out. And if Rick has been proven to be wrong, he will admit that he's wrong. And that's the great admirable quality of him. But nobody in this country should ever be fooled to believe that Rick Wayne is in anybody's back pocket. He is a free thinker. He is going to stand for what he thinks is right, but he welcomes anyone who's prepared to challenge him in those regards. So Rick Wayne owes me nothing. I, in fact, enjoy the critiques sometimes with Rick, and we will privately go after some of those issues, and sometimes we even will do it in public. In his second question as to whether, in fact, do I have any reservations about CIP, I don't, if it's run properly. Now, the question is, can we trust our system, seeing what we have seen so far, that the system can ever be so genuine, so objective to run this program properly? And this is why, Tim, I feel very strongly that the CIP program should be run outside of the OECS Secretariat and take it away as being separate programs within the OECS and one singular program. Because what it does, it takes away the competitive nature of the CIP program within the OECS. And I think that there'll be less temptation to breach the rules and for people to try to take advantage of it on a personal basis. So I think that I will very much will be pushing very hard for it to become a singular program. And if the other OECS heads do not agree, I already have a plan B in place. But I disagree with Rick. I think it can be a very fruitful program. I do agree with him that human nature, and particularly the environment that we're in and the weak checks and balances, brings into question whether we should do this program, whether we have the capacity to regulate ourselves.
Well, Countryman is also commenting on YouTube. You know Countryman, of course.
Yes.
Countryman says talk about crime. I'm a countryman. I would like him to talk about crime. He says, talk about crime, not CIP. CIP people can't relate to that crime affects them in real time. And somebody who called you earlier on to talk to you about the matters you had before the Privileges Committee, I don't think you really understood. The person says that the two matters I'm referring to is Richard Frederick taking Alan to the Privilege Committee and his visa, and the Ernest case about a supposed joint account with Joe Falley.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So this is an embarrassment because those cases, the first part of the cases I won, and they were to continue. Mm-hmm. And what has happened is the judge that was overseeing those cases recused himself from the cases, alleging that there was political interference, because apparently the Attorney General's office had written to him, pressures were being put on him, and he decided to recuse himself. A month later, he was transferred to Grenada. And since then, no judge has been assigned to my cases. So those cases are still there, but there's no judge, and as a result of it, they're dormant. And I genuinely believe that the government is afraid, scared of proceeding with those cases. Because in one of them, imagine the Speaker of the House was trying to prevent me from leaving the House. So he put me on, I jokingly say he put me on the house arrest, right? This is absurd, a complete breach of my liberties and rights as a citizen and even as a parliamentarian, because it was the people from Miku South who put me in the House. They can't take me out of the House. But nothing has happened, and that is why I'm very concerned when we wrote to the Chief Justice and said to her at the time that the judge has recused himself. I don't know whether the allegations he made were true or not, but the fact is he's been transferred and my cases have not continued. And she did nothing.
You'd have expected some intervention by, let's say, now we have a new Chief Justice, the acting Chief Justice. You expect something to be said or done about this?
Look, I don't have any personal issues with the current Chief Justice, Mary Michelle. When we meet, we speak well. But the fact is that there are too many times in which I think that I've seen him take positions which are questionable. When he participated in the Boundaries case, Commission's case in St. Kitts. And there are other cases, the Landings case that he participated here in St. Lucia. I think that...
Then simply as an attorney, right?
No, in that case he was a judge. He was on the appeals court, right? He was before he became the Chief Justice. So he's in an acting position. I personally do not believe that Mary Michelle should be confirmed as a Chief Justice. I think that there are too many conflicts that he would have. And he's not shown in the past, even though he had promised that he would recuse himself from any of the St. Lucian cases, he did not. So I'm disappointed, but not surprised that this has gone nowhere.
Final call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're here.
Hey, Timmy.
Good afternoon. Quick question or comment?
Yeah, good afternoon, Timmy. Quick comment. Good afternoon to you, Timmy, and good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Happy Independence to you, sir.
Same to you.
And you wish your group a very good election. I'm hoping that you guys can come back. My policy now is that every 5 years, change the government, because once the government remains for more than 5 years, there's a greater chance of them becoming involved in corrupt practices. So my policy is that every 5 years, change the government. And I believe that certain things should be put in place, that when a government comes in, they cannot just stop projects which are good projects. In other words, if there are any good projects, they have to continue it. So certain things have to be put in place which make sure a new government continues good projects that have been put in place. And the last thing I want to say is that St. Lucians need another option. I've seen territories like Antigua and other territories that have 3 or 4 or 5 groups taking part in a national election. And I took part. I entered the political race in 1997, where I ran as an independent candidate for Castro South, and I ran against John Odlum, Desmond Braffett, and Lawson Caldwell.
And how many votes you got for the history books?
Well, the votes are there's a report. Every election there's a report, and it tells you how many votes I got. So if you don't have the report,
that's my good friend Ben Nathaniel. Ben, no, honestly, how many votes you got?
Timmy, listen. There's a report on the election, and if you read the report, you'll see exactly how many votes I got.
How many?
Okay? If you read the report, you'll see exactly how many votes I got.
I think it's about 5. Am I correct?
I got more than 5, a lot more than 5. But Timmy.
But not 10.
More than 10.
Okay.
But Timmy, come next election, which I believe will be held in November this year.
Yeah.
I can bet it's going to be held in November this year. Because Pierre is not going to allow next year come on, and he hasn't called the election. So he's going to call it this year, hopefully November. So I am putting together, and I've been trying my best for the last 10 years. So the People's National Movement, the PNM, will be coming on board. Our color will be green, and we'll be using my symbol, the left handshake. So hopefully, and if God is good, and God is always good, we'll have 3 groups in the next election. The SLP, the UWP, and the PNM headed by Vincent B. Nathaniel.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Nathaniel, thank you so much. Final comments from you, Mr. Leader of the Opposition.
Look, I think that, democracy is a very, very important aspect. But in order for democracy to work, we have to uphold what democracy represents, which is the protection of our individual rights. So, all joking aside, I think that participating in elections is not easy, and you have to be able to present to the people a plan and give them the confidence that you can execute the plan. It's just interesting that he brought up about every 5 years there should be a change. I'm not necessarily in agreement with that. I again caution people who want to just simplify the thing by saying both political parties are the same. I've challenged people to tell me what project did the United Workers' Party stop. We inherited the St. Jude's Hospital, and when we reviewed it, we realized we had to do an investigation. The investigation gave us the evidence that we should be building a new building instead of trying to fix the old one. Time has proven us right. The Labour Party came back in despite the fact that the new building was almost complete. They chose to go back to the old building. Here it is that they're now in the process of spending $265 million and cannot complete the project. Meanwhile, a brand new building was going to be completed for $180 million. So again, we were right in what we were doing. So I don't know what other projects that there were that we decided to stop. We didn't stop the HIA. All we decided to do was to move the terminal in a new location, because once we were going to be building the cruise ship berth in Vieux Fort, we wanted to use, instead of demolishing the old terminal, was to maintain the old terminal for the cruise ships. So I think every government comes in should review what is taking place on the ground. I think there was a person who said to me, "Oh, you stopped the Soufrière Square." I said, I didn't stop the Soufrière Square. I said, I went down to the Soufrière Square. I was doing a visit of Soufrière. And when I saw that they were using concrete in the design that they were doing, it was heartbreaking. And I said it was particularly heartbreaking for me because I go way back with Soufrière. Back in 1984, when I was a young economist with Clem Bob on a redevelopment of Soufrière. And that square, historically, is a very important point of history in St. Lucia and should not have been treated with the lack of any kind of imagination. And when you go in to see what we did, we finished the square. And I think it's beautiful. I was so happy to see so many St. Lucians coming down and happy to be there. So what we were hoping to achieve, we did achieve. I would never want to just stop a project for a project's sake. But if it can be done better, if it can be improved, I will always do that. I think that COVID created a lot of fear among people in the last election. I think the propaganda of Richard Fedrick in particular, I dismissed Richard because of his history. But the fact is that he was a force of nature, and a lot of people fell for his propaganda and his half-truths. Hopefully today, people are now recognizing that he is El Crapo, and that this is not a person that the people of this country should be following. He has no legacy. He does not care about the people. He's a selfish individual, and he's a liar. And he's been continuously being proven to be a liar. So politics is important because it helps develop our country. I believe that when the people of St. Lucia on March 2nd see the candidates the United Workers' Party is bringing on to be in the next elections, I think people are going to be very excited. We have a great group of men and women of a variety of backgrounds and of success stories. Almost all of them are coming here with success already being achieved. And I'm very excited of what they will do for St. Lucia and the future they represent, because persons like myself and Guy, we're here for a while. You know, Spider has already, taken his bow out. Gail has taken her bow out. Ezekiel. We have to continue transforming and improving as a party. And I think the next crop of candidates, of which there will be 12 new candidates, Tim, 12, will really be the representing the future of St. Lucia. I'm hoping that myself and some of the elders can help bring them on board, give them the experience of governance, and that we'll see new leadership in the United Workers' Party moving down the road, that we can have a pattern of continuity of development in this country.
Thank you so much for being my guest on this segment of NewsSpin. Once again, the leader of the Parliamentary Opposition MP for Mico South, Mr. Alan Chastanet. To you, thank you so much for watching and listening. Finally, our NewsSpin news of the day. The NewsSpin news of the day reads, Singapore says Asia now views the United States as a landlord seeking rent. Singapore says Asia now views the United States as a landlord seeking rent. This has been another edition of the world's most monitored talk show. My name is Timothy Poleon. Goodbye.